Welcome everybody to UFO Man Live, number 21. Tonight I'm featuring a couple people on my panel. One everybody might recognize as Vern from VERNVISION Truth Network. Welcome, Vern.
Well,
And another one is Unk. He is a new addition to our panel. Tonight we're going to talk about Spacex Starlink satellite array and whether it's a good thing. Starlink is a satellite constellation being constructed by SpaceX to provide satellite internet access, 5G, to the world. The constellation will consist of thousands of mass-produced small satellites in low Earth orbit, working in combination with ground transceivers. SpaceX also plans to sell some of the satellites to the military, scientific, or exploratory programs. Concerns have been raised about the long-term danger of space debris resulting from placing thousands of satellites in orbit above 600 kilometers or 370 miles, and a possible impact on astronomy. Although the Starlink satellites orbit at 550 kilometers or 340 miles above the Earth, and SpaceX is reportedly attempting to solve the latter issue. On Starlink 2, one of the satellites has an experimental coating to darken the solar array, so it makes it less reflective, and thus the impact on ground-based astronomy is lessened. The total cost of the decade-long project to design, build, and deploy the constellation was estimated by SpaceX in May of 2018 to be over $10 billion. Product development began in 2015, and the first two prototype test flight satellites launched in February of 2018. A second set of test satellites and the first large deployment of a piece of the constellation occurred on May 24, 2019, when the first 60 operational satellites were launched. The SpaceX Satellite Development Facility in Redmond, Washington, houses the Starlink Research Development, Manufacturing, and On-Orbit Control Operations Center. As of April 22nd, 2020, SpaceX is targeting a private beta service in the northern United States and Canada by August 2020, with a public beta following in November of 2020. SpaceX is launching 60 satellites at a time. So every rocket that goes up has 60 satellites on board, aiming to deploy 1,584 of the 260 kilogram or 570 pound spacecrafts to provide near global service by late 2021 or 2022. However, these are only internal projections and not set dates. This is a quote from WikiLeaks, letting everybody know what the gist of Starlink is. Now, the problem with Starlink is it's being misidentified by many people as UFOs. They are not UFOs. They are a line of 60 satellites. What do you think, Vern? What do you think about the Starlink array?
I don't know. I kind of think that they're selling space off as if somebody owns it. And I think that they're making a big mistake if they don't offer what they're doing for free. If they don't make the internet free for everyone, everywhere, I am totally opposed to what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Right. The fact that I found out today that they were going to sell it off for military purposes was the one thing that I was concerned about. Because if you can imagine, Their ultimate goal is 42,000 satellites surrounding the Earth. And if they have a military function.
Okay, there's something wrong with that number to begin with. That sounds like militarized satellites, like they're up there not to be internet satellites, but to be weaponized satellites for like where they go out there like a cruise missile in space, basically. And they sit in a geosynchronous orbit until something comes into their sector that they want to, or categorize as a bogey or whatever, and they intercept and destroy it by a collision, and having an armed thing. That's what Star Wars pretty much was going to be. So they're pretty much doing Star Wars. See, when Reagan was doing all that stuff and everything else, they had stuff up there, okay, but they're elaborating now, and what they're going to do is they're saying that they have this big number, but there's already so many satellites up in space that what they're going to do is start identifying the ones I think that are already there.
Right.
The ones that are going up there that I saw, I think what I saw that night or whatever, are the ones that are supposed to be the communication ones. Now they're going to have a communication network array up there that's going to be unsurpassed, where they're going to have internet, but they're also going to update for military purposes. There's no doubt about it in my mind.
Right. It's going to be military, and
that's why he's getting the okay to do it. Otherwise, they wouldn't let him do it.
The big problem I have with Starlink is that Elon Musk hopes that the U.S. taxpayer will pay for the satellites.
Well, this could be a screen used to already deal with or screen the existing beings that are on this planet.
So sorry to interrupt, but isn't like Elon Musk just like a straw man for it all? I mean, he's like,
well, he's the money behind it.
He's basically this.
He's the face of it.
He's the face and the playboy of it all, who gets billions of subsidies from world governments, not only the U.S. but God knows who, right?
Right, well, exactly.
It's all because he was successful at getting the first ship into space. That's what it was all about.
He gets money from Russia, and he gets money from Japan and Europe, and I mean he's basically like fucking Iron Man. I mean.
Well, the thing is that he's revolutionized rocketry in ways that are in such a short time that makes me wonder where he's getting his information from or his insight, because it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like those rockets that are landing themselves is right out of fucking Buck Rogers. Okay?
One day he tries to design small U-boats to rescue little Thai children, and the next day he launches 500 satellites into space. I mean, he's definitely some rogue card, and he's used by multiple governments. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
No doubt.
I think Starlink.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's a world order thing. There's no doubt about it.
Starlink is being leveraged by those who have the banking power in the world. I really believe the elite.
That in the military complex.
Right, the military-industrial complex, exactly.
Which is very, very wealthy too, and you have to understand that they hold technologies that have been translated from their money or whatever that was put in that are in the trillions of dollars, trillions.
Right.
You know, the fucking the B-2 bomber, trillions. We've spent probably 6 trillion to 8 trillion on that alone, I think. And the F-22 project, they had to scrub it because they got so expensive. The planes were I forget what, $256 million each.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
These, if you consider they're 571 pounds a piece, they're not going to be cheap a piece.
Okay, well, 40,000 of them. Do the math on how much is each one of them going to cost? How much can he put them up for? Because I've heard estimates where he said it was around $20,000 a satellite. Now, how do you do that?
Yeah, it makes you wonder.
Mass produce them in China or something. You know what I mean?
According to what I understand, they're made in Redmond, Washington. But the thing about it is that he's getting subsidies from the U.S. government through U.S. taxpayer dollars. Now, is that a right thing to do? Is what I'm asking.
If they make it for free, then yes.
Well, yeah, if it's free
If it's
5G
free
internet
public
access.
use for the private person anywhere in the world that at least is a United States citizen or a citizen of European Union, at least R2
but can I say something?
Australia and all that shit too. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, Russia, I don't know about. Okay, China, they're going to want to be on it. Okay, and China probably actually has the right to get on there because we owe them so much money in debt because of the frauding banksters. You know, doing their that they've got them. You know where. You know, they could attack us based on economics. That's what Japan attacked us in World War II based on economics. Okay, and all we have to do is shift. You know, if Trump was starting to set up the animosity with China because he started to do these embargoes and all that stuff, and see we're the ones that are going to pay for it in the end. Okay, we're always going to pay for it, whether they outright say that they use public money or not. We are going to pay for this.
Yep, we are.
One way or another.
But then again, may I say something?
Sure.
Isn't it funny? Like every time there's like some big space mission or anything, even the most dire enemies in the Cold War, they will all end up in a space shuttle together. It's always like one European, an American, and a Russian, and a Chinese for some reason, right? You'll never see like it's a South African, Inuit,
but he doesn't even sound
or a Finnish guy or something like that.
I mean, he does not sound South African. He doesn't sound African at all. He sounds like he's like Dutch or something. And what kind of a name is Elon Musk? Okay, that's like saying Elephant Musk. Okay,
he's
no, that's a made up name. That is a made up fucking name. You can't tell me it's not. Come on.
He's
Elon Musk. That sounds like Elephant Musk, and he's from South Africa. I mean, let's make up a name.
He is, yeah. He's basically just.
Well, maybe he's trying to protect his anonymity. You know, considering he's
well,
a
what is he then? What is he?
No, what you calling?
Yeah, he's a human being, but he's a trillionaire.
He might be a hybrided human. You never know. The guy ain't right. He looks like he'd have extra digits and stuff or something, or less digits or something. I don't know.
Everyone who calls their own daughter some digit, right? It's normal.
Well, I'm not trying to make fun of him or anything like that. I'm trying to say that he's different. Okay, he's just different. I would, I would hang with him. I would actually go to Mars with him if he needs somebody to go to Mars with him, or whatever, and set up shop and stuff. I'd already told my mom I'm getting rid of, because he said he was selling all of his stuff, and I said I'm selling all my stuff. So there we go, and I'm getting rid of the house.
But I mean, everyone
I'm ready to go.
Everyone who would call. Can I say something?
Sure, go right ahead.
Everyone who would call their newborn son A, like in Latin, you know, the A and the E together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And an A-12. That's normal, right? That is his newly born son's name.
Huh?
XAA-12.
That's his son's name.
That is his newly born son's name. I thought you all knew.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow.
He must be losing it or something. Is he cracking up?
No. He isn't. He's a tool from multiple agencies.
Yeah, but he's talking about getting rid of everything he owns and selling his house. I saw this on his tweet.
No. It's horse manure. It's what it. Of course, when we all know, like, I mean, we all know, like, the currency we know today, whether it's bitcoins or it's modern currency as in bills or bonds or stocks or whatever. It's all a bunch of horse manure.
Okay, I got to say something here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get back on topic just a little bit, please.
Mm-hmm.
in
Well,
regards,
Elon Musk is topic though. He
yeah,
is. And I actually talked to him.
Elon Musk is the face
That's
of.
the thing I forgot to mention. I actually tweeted him, and he
He
tweeted me
did
back.
tweet him, and I saw the tweet, so I know it's a legitimate tweet. Yes.
So we can confirm, like, I can read up from this. The state of California is indicating the unusual name XAA-12 for the newborn child of Tesla and SpaceX chief Elon Musk and singer Grimes.
That's a rocket, I think. I think
Does
that's a
not
rocket.
jive with the state of health codes. The duo announced the name on Twitter following the baby
What?
boy's birth on May 4th. A name like XAA-12 would not be allowed, Matt Combs from the Office of Public Affairs of the
You could do it.
California
You could spell it
Department.
out. You could spell it out phonetically.
Yeah, and he's so rich, so of course he can pull it off. I mean, rappers has pulled off more daring names than that. I mean,
Okay. Well, I want to get back to Elon Musk for a second.
How many times has he been married?
2 times, I think.
A lot. Who's he having this kid with now? Because he's not married.
I don't know.
Wow.
Maybe it's an adoption.
No, it's that Grimes, some goth-like singer.
So, what do you think that the purpose of Starlink is?
It's a multi-purpose weapon.
It is a weapon.
It's a weapon, of course, and it's a dual purpose. It's weaponized, and you can use it in what a corporation would do, like fast internet, or you can sell people's faces or their whereabouts or whatever. I mean, it's.
Oh yeah, it could be spy satellites. Yeah, I agree.
It's part of the whole. Isn't it called the 13 Eyes project, where multiple agencies work together of the old alliance? I think it's called the 13 Eyes.
You want to know one of the major problems with Starlink?
It's at some point they will dissolve and basically just drop from the sky and cause a lot of damage.
Alex in the chat said if anyone is a hybrid, it might be Elon. So he's agreeing with you, Vern. I got to say this. Astronomers are worried that Starlink will block their view of incoming asteroids.
Well,
Yeah, I can actually.
Let's figure this out, though. I mean, they're going to have 40,000 satellites up there. They're going to be doing all kinds of scanning. They're going to become the eyes of everything. You know,
But if they're pointed, not if the satellites are pointed down. If they're pointed down,
but they might be satellites that are 360 universal satellites.
Yeah. They're multi-purpose satellites.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are, because they have to be able to track one another too in a grid, and they're going to have anything that comes into their grid is a warning thing, because they have to avoid collisions with other stuff and everything. You know what I mean?
And they're probably also there to make.
They're pretty.
They're there to so everyone who's making
and they're carrying the internet,
precision bombings and so on, they can strike with like within
they do anything with
pin needle.
Probably down to a freaking.
They don't have rockets on them. You do know
down
that.
to a millimeter.
Yeah. But jets do use satellite intelligence to
right jets
to strike within millimeters, right?
Yes, and submarines and everything else. Yes.
It's a multi-purpose. He made a good deal by doing this. I mean, he gets subsidized by the government, and he can basically do what he wants. He's the new Bill Gates. That's what he is. I mean, let's face it. And he's even more sick than
I'm going to say this, Hank. I personally do not believe that he is as bad as Bill Gates. Bill Gates is substantially worse.
Yeah, for now he is, but I mean
substantially worse for a long time.
but have in mind, Elon is still younger than Bill Gates, and Bill Gates was saying the same stuff that he said when he was his age, right? Let's face that. I mean, he's
Akam in the chat is saying, how come we don't hear many complaints from any other countries? We are hearing complaints about the possibility of the satellites blocking out the stars, blocking out the sky, blocking out the ability for people to actually observe the universe. We are hearing complaints from other countries. Yes, we are.
Imagine that when these like 42,000 plus satellites go into orbit, what's next? Is it another 42,000 satellites?
Well, I heard, and I read this today. Well, I guess I didn't hear it. I read it. Amazon is coming out with like 28,000 satellites that are going to be deployed right after Starlink is completed.
And China and Russia and India has their whole other programs for that, and we don't even know how many satellites they put out.
Yep, but they're at different heights. I do know that originally Starlink was supposed to be at 600 to 800 miles above the Earth, and now they're at 341 low Earth orbit. And China, that's one of the reasons why they reflect so much sunlight, because they have drag. There's drag on the actual chassis of the satellite itself, so it's causing a lot of reflection.
And China just actually launched a new generation of spaceship, the Long Mark 5B. That's 2 days ago.
Yeah, there's no complaint of duality, Akam, not at least from what I've read or heard. Not so far. What do you know about duality there, Vern?
Not too familiar with it.
Alex says, what's scary is that these guys are so rich they can start pandemics and sell us the damn cure. Yeah, that's Bill and Melinda Gates right there. But how do you know the vaccine is cure? Let's go there for a second. It may not be the cure. It might be the illness. So, are you going to take the vaccine?
That's a whole nother topic right there.
That's a whole nother topic. So going back to Elon Musk and the Starlink array, most people in the world that don't have the technology to research what the lights in the sky are misinterpreting them as UFOs. And if you look at the UFO community online, there are a lot of videos saying multiple UFOs seen over France, multiple UFOs seen flying over the Netherlands. What are they? And what we're trying to do with this live stream is to set things straight and let people know that it is a satellite array. It is definitely not UFOs.
They are not moving erratically. They are moving in a kind of oval straight line, and
exactly.
It's definitely man-made objects. There's no doubt about it. It's a satellite array set.
Right. I have a question for you, Vern. In regards to the satellite array, originally there were 20 satellites moving in a group, and now there are 60?
No, they launched 60 on that one occasion, but I think they had launched like in series. I don't remember what it was, but I think it was a dozen or 2 dozen at a time. But then they launched the 60. There's more than just 60 up there, but they're already in place.
Right. There's 422 up there right now, as of 5/7/2020. And they launched 60 at a time. In fact, I think I have a picture. Let me find it here. I have a picture of what it looks like. There's the picture of the actual fairing showing all the satellites inside of it and the rocket to the right. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool, actually.
Okay, sorry for blocking you guys there for a minute. Let's see here. This is what it's going to look like if we have them all up there. Imagine the crowding of satellites around the Earth.
Yeah, and they will simply block out the beauty of space. They will that would be the last blow to like everything is depressing. Like we're building depressive gray skyscrapers all over the place, and they will just like basically destroy our little feeble brains or something. I mean, and make us depressed.
It'll be like this. We won't be able to see a clear starlit sky anymore.
The beauty of space. I mean, and it will be something like then you have to be like a rich person or something, and then we'll shut it off, and it will be like, oh, for 100,000 euros or something, you can see the clear blue space for like 2 minutes or something. It's disgusting what they're doing. I mean, they're really terraforming us.
That right there is the Starlink array, at least part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to put that image up. Okay, this one here, SpaceX is assembling a constellation. Okay, astronomers are worried that Starlink machines will block their view of asteroids heading for our planet.
Yeah, and how in the hell would they even do that? I mean, we don't have technology to block something that's incoming with what it's what like a nuclear bomb times 150 or something. Some of them. How would you block that?
I don't know how you would block that, but
unless you're a super Marvel hero or something.
Right, I think they just want to be aware of them. You know.
Yeah, you can be aware of them, but still, what does it matter if they hit you?
Yeah, it's kind of like you're kind of burned if they do, right?
you could spend like a trillion an hour on getting the info. What would it matter if one will hit you?
Here's how the fairing breaks off and the satellites are deployed.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a pretty cool picture. Okay, well, in regards to the satellites reflecting sunlight, one thing I wanted to say is that they're coming out with a new satellite, and it's called the DARK-SAT, D-A-R-K SAT, S-A-T. And
never heard of it.
The DARK-SAT will be the replacement for the Starlink satellites that they have up there now, because the DARK-SAT will have a coating on the solar array that will allow sunlight to be absorbed but not reflected back toward Earth. So you won't be able to see them, but they'll still be there. The basic issue is that when satellites orbit the Earth, they periodically catch and reflect light from the sun, particularly when they exit from the Earth's shadow and enter direct sunlight, which takes place during their orbit raise phase. It is at this point that satellites will engage their thrusters to raise their altitude over the course of a few weeks to ensure that they don't experience orbital decay. The problem is that they're at such a low Earth orbit that they have a lot of drag. Drag is a greater issue for Starlink since they are deployed to lower altitudes to mitigate the risk of space debris. As originally planned, they are supposed to be at 680 to 800 miles out. SpaceX indicated in a press article that summarized the key points of the presentation. The Starlink satellite design was driven by the fact that they fly at a very low altitude compared to other communication satellites. We do this to prioritize space traffic safety and to minimize the latency of the signal between the satellite and the users who are getting internet service from it. Because of the low altitude, drag is a major factor in the design. At this point, Starlink satellites assume their open book flight configuration when entering the orbit raise phase of their orbit, where their panels are deployed flat out and in front of the vehicle to reduce atmospheric drag. Because of this, sunlight can reflect off of both the solar array and the body of the satellite at this point. Once the satellites reach their operational orbit of 340 miles, the on-station phase, only certain parts of the chassis can reflect light. This is because the satellite's attitude control system overcomes drag by making the satellite assume its shark fin orientation, which is straight up and down, where its solar panel is raised in a vertical orientation. To address these issues, SpaceX has indicated that the company is working in partnership with various organizations to implement a number of changes. For starters, they are currently testing an experimental satellite that is less reflective than previous models, which is appropriately named DarkSat. This class of satellite takes advantage of a darkened phased array and parabolic antennas to reduce brightness by an estimated 55%. However, they are also looking to implement a sun visor solution to address the issue of heat, since dark satellites can shine brightly in infrared because of the way black paint absorbs radiation. The parabolic antennas, which are white and diffuse, will also have visor-like coverings to reduce the amount of light they reflect. The first visor SAT prototype will be deployed this month, and by June, all future satellites will have a visor. So that's how they're changing the satellites. And one can only wonder how much money that's going to add to the cost. But that's all for astronomy, I guess. And also to keep them more secret, I would think. You know, the darker they are, the more hidden they are. You can't see them. So
everyone is preparing for a space war. With everyone is
right.
you know,
there's a false flag possibility of a false flag space war coming. Yeah,
everyone is knowing, like Russia and China and Japan have had like some kind of space force for since the so-called declaration against the what's the name?
Say that again.
Since China, everyone signed the declaration against the what was his name? What was the name? A declaration against one mass proliferation or something, right?
Yeah,
in
mass
space.
proliferation in space. Yeah.
But these dark operations went on. I mean, and everyone know like the first war was China, Russia, and Japan, because they didn't give a fuck, really. Sorry, the language. And now France and probably Germany is within France, right? And we now have Trump saying he's gonna have the Space Force, which has probably existed since Reagan, right?
Well, I think when he came out with Space Force, it almost seemed like a soft disclosure of the secret space program, which has existed for decades.
Since Reagan.
Or even earlier.
Yeah, or even but Reagan announced the Star Wars program, right?
That's a different program, but yes, the Star Wars Defense Initiative, yes.
But it was a part of a giant plan or a platform. I mean, it included a space force and God knows what.
Yeah.
It included. I even think it included like laser weapons on asteroids and stuff like that, atomic bombs, or I mean, it was an elaborate plan. I mean, and him and Nancy, they believed in like aliens, as in like physical being walking amongst us and stuff like that. There's news articles about that shit, you know. Sorry, like,
right.
But they really just like what I think what Tony Blair and his wife, I can't remember his wife's name. They were like, we believe in aliens and worshiping the light and all kinds of weirdness, you know.
Right.
And you know, I am a very big skeptic and don't believe like aliens is my neighbor or something. But it does like kind of puts a perspective into like we have these big elites who's believing in worshiping light and aliens and producing like space forces and stuff like that.
Well, Trump did come out and say that we need to achieve dominance in space.
And I believe actually he's absolutely right in that sense because everyone has been sleeping in that matter because like everyone has been if you could go and look at like a few China hacks and something from space, they're basically colonizing the place.
Well, I think that this man-made constellation that Elon is trying to put up in space, even though it's promising 5G access to the world, maybe that's a good thing. But it seems to me like if he's going to sell it to the military, that is a detrimental thing to the world and shouldn't really be allowed. I mean, what can we do to prevent that? And right now, we can't do much because he's a trillionaire and money talks, right?
We should have strict laws against this because it goes against any type of civil liberty. I mean, it's not right to place an object that can be weaponized how you want it and control people how you really like to want it, right?
Right. So what do you think, Vern?
They really want to make laws now for once in their lifetime, make laws that actually benefits us all and not so we're not gonna live under tyranny or something like that, right? For once in a lifetime, make good laws.
Yeah, but they want to make good laws. But the people in power, the extremists, are the ones that are dictating what is going on. The elite behind the extremists.
Yeah, that's why we just need to.
You gotta follow the money, that's where it's at. Who has the money has the power.
But we have the, you know, the people are the power, really, right? So if
the people are the power if people come together. But the problem is there's a lot of people. What is that? I don't know what that is. A lot of people will follow. What is that, Vern?
That's what?
That's something really wrong.
Is there?
It's like we're being jammed. A lot of people will follow and not be a participant in changing the laws. Do you know what I'm saying, Punk? For the most part, people want to change things. But the government, the elected officials, the ones that have their hands in the pockets of the lobbyists and vice versa, the ones that are making $173,000 a year as a salary but become millionaires in about 2-3 years of public service, they're the ones that are not making a change. They're the ones that are backing the financing of Elon Musk's big, elaborate satellite array that's going to block out our stars, that may cause military issues around the world. Correct?
Yeah, but still, again, people allow it by being passive and not protesting, right?
That's my point. People allow it by becoming the ones that follow the government. Oh, the government says to do this. Oh, we got to do it. It's kind of look at the pandemic. People are told to wear a mask, not to stand more than 6 feet. You got to be 6 feet apart,
Yeah, and
right?
it doesn't make sense. Like you have to wear a mask, but it's supposed to contaminate via your like mucous membranes and so on, right?
Right.
So
I guess what I'm saying is,
that includes your eyes. So if you don't wear eye protection, then it
right,
doesn't matter.
you're right anyways, and you got to remember something else. There's another entry into your head, and that's your ears.
Hmm?
Most people don't think about that.
Hmm?
And I guess what I'm going to say to you is, according to what my friend VERN has said, the virus molecule is so small, a cloth mask is not going to help you. Basically, all it does is give you a sense of security. Yeah, it's not going to help you.
It's just like people. I'll bet people did the same during the Black Plague in Europe.
Maybe they're going to use the Starlink array to use a laser to zap the coronavirus molecule. You ever wonder?
They can use this array in so many ways. It's a $1 trillion maker once they have them all in place, and it's gonna be really the end to every type of freedom there is, because they can grab all information first of all, and the information that gets through, they can locate who downloaded, and then they can locate them and get them removed. I mean, people are, oh, it's gonna be a smart solution and stuff like that. It's too smart. That's the problem. It's simply too smart, and people don't realize it. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything. I just see what they've implemented the last 20 years.
Michael, I don't know if I'm saying your name right. Bite Again says propaganda. Yes, it is definitely a lot of propaganda out there in regards to a lot of different things. Now, I think the intent behind Starlink was originally a good idea. I mean, to provide free 5G internet access to the world is a wonderful thing. But I think it got
It's
convoluted. It got convoluted by the military aspect of it all.
it's a military project, camouflaged via Elon Musk, who is just an asset really. And I mean, always follow the money. He gets billions in government substitutes.
Yeah, oh, I know that. He gets billions of dollars from the government. He
So
also gets money from
he's
other.
he's gonna save the humanity with free internet and stuff like that. But
No, that's not the whole.
do you really think he
No,
that
that's not the point of it. It's not to save humanity. It's just to give humanity access to information. It has nothing to do with saving humanity.
no,
Personally,
I was just being ironic,
I
but
know you're being ironic, but I'm just disputing you. In
yeah, it's okay.
regards to the actual array, the array was set up for many purposes, but the purpose that was put out there in the public eye to lead the people into agreeing with the idea was that it was only for 5G access, which is not the case. And I think we've made that point clear tonight. What do you think, VERN?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. What do I think about what?
What do you think about the actual program of Starlink? Do you think it was originally created with good intent?
I think I made that clear. I said that it's militarized.
The whole program was militarized.
It was originally probably done by the Department of Defense in regards to Star Wars.
Okay. All right.
because
Yeah,
I know.
I think it's a DARPA project protected by Playboy Mr. Musk.
But see that there's a bunch of secret space missions that NASA flew with the space shuttle, in which they flew 20 or 30 missions, I think, or something like that, in which they were deploying, from what I hear, spy satellites that were numbered in a half a dozen to a dozen at a time. So,
Right.
you know, in their cargo bay and all that was completely, done clandestine. And then the Air Force have their own shuttlecraft, and those ones are the same thing. They're out there deploying all kinds of satellites, and they do maintenance on them and everything else. They run those shuttles up there for years. They stay up there for a year, 3 or 4 years before they bring them in for service.
Well, yeah, I've heard about that. They've got that one drone shuttle that's been up there for like 2.5, 3 years.
They have 4 of them. I was up in the mountains when one of them re-entered when I had to have been, because it put a vapor trail across the horizon, and it was frickin' flying when it came down, and it made a sonic boom and everything.
Wow,
So,
that's cool. Wish
yeah,
I could have seen that.
I happened to be looking up there when it came across, man, and it was just, and I've seen the space shuttle re-enter before. I'm like, that was a fucking spacecraft re-entering of some sort, like a shuttle or whatever. So yeah, and they landed over at Vandenberg, and they launched it at Vandenberg, so it would have gone right over my head right there on its way to Vandenberg.
Yes, Alex, you probably do have to give up your firstborn if you want free 5G access. So yeah, I agree.
If you want to get into the world I'm talking about, you better get your ass in gear.
Michael by the game is saying code word rods from God. The rods from God is space. Well, I do know that during the fires in California the last couple of years, Paradise, California, beams of light. Yes, it did.
It never happened.
What do you mean it never happened?
It was all fake.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, we've been fooled.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, code word rods from God would be like.
I've seen footage of the city, and
yeah, you saw footage of it, but who did it come from? CNN?
Get in a swinger club or something.
Not CNN, no. Anyways, if it happened, let's just say theoretically, if the fires happened, I had a gentleman come to me on my channel and talk to me specifically in private concerning the fact that he was one of 4 people that are trained to go behind
lines.
Police tape to get into an area that is closed off to the public in regards to national disasters. And he was at the Paradise, California fire, and he said he and his co-workers saw beams of red light coming from the sky down to the ground, igniting the fires. That was a direct quote. Now, whether
when was this, Tim?
2 years ago.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Well, that would indicate that we have lasers in space, right? And the other day we had a friend of ours, Vern saw the video, and Akam, who's in the chat, sent me the link. It was of a laser strike in Saudi Arabia, causing a huge explosion. Akam, if you got that link, repost it in the chat, would you please? Yeah, that was pretty incredible. So if that's actually legitimate, then we do have lasers in space. So maybe that's part of Starlink. I'd almost say no, because they only have 60 or 422 satellites up there right now, and I don't know if that's enough to create a system like that.
Mining companies are already, bargaining of where they can harvest minerals and ore and stuff like that. They already, I think they already began that project in the late 90s or something like that.
Right. Occam's saying the entire population has never been in this kind of position before. Everyone's in the dark. trillions are not allocated in the right direction. That is correct. Money is not going to the people where it's needed.
Yeah, it's just going down in the pockets of the crooked people. All right.
Crooked politicians. And the people behind the politicians.
The bankers are the government. I mean, that's the problem.
Right, Akam. The laser explosion in Saudi Arabia that you posted the link from UFOs and Aliens Santana. Well, everybody that's in the chat and everybody that's listening out there, if you want to see that laser shot, go to UFOs and Aliens Santana and check out his video on laser shot, huge explosion in Saudi Arabia. Then you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Laser explosion in Saudi Arabia.
Exactly. If the array is actually 100% militarized right at the moment, as Vern is claiming and as Unka is saying, then we are definitely in dire straits.
It's a multi-purpose array. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
Why would you spend so many billions to put them there, which it will cost just to provide some? Oh, it's just to provide safe and fast 5G net. What a preposterous claim in general. I mean, and Elon Musk is he is this little evil new gnome, just like Bill Gates was back in the day. He's just not wearing like pink sweaters and so on. He tries to portray to be some more liberal, like, oh, I smoke weed on Joe Rogan and stuff like that, you know. He's definitely just a puppet. I mean, and he's a groom puppet. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Paranormal Underworld in the chat say, get used to it. Money will never be ours. Been like that since the beginning of time. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, and it has, indeed.
Those who have the money, keep it and get richer. I have a video clip of the Starlink array. It appeared over Dubuque, Iowa on 5/6/2020, and I'm going to share the video. So let's see here. Share screen. Okay. Okay, why is it doing that? Vern, tell me, why is it doing that?
Yeah, why is it doing that, Vern?
I can't do that. I guess I can't run the video, but
I'm gonna run some shout outs.
I'm gonna see if I can do that again. Add.
Shout out to Michael.
It won't do it. So
Beat Again. Shout out to Santos Codilla. Shout out to Mr. MB Cooper, who I think is an Islamic terrorist. And then there's Ockham Racer. Shout out.
Yeah.
He'll come back. And then there's Paranormal Underworld.
Yep, Jax, welcome.
Who is a whistleblower for the CIA. Oh, and shout out for VERNVISION, who's obviously in the chat being evil. Say something, Vern.
Yeah, say something, Vern.
Stop being the Joker on us.
This was VERNVISION's idea for tonight's live stream. So we're going to put him on the spot and ask him what he wants to say about Starlink. Is there anything left that you want to say about Starlink, Vern? You're muted.
Yeah, you're muted.
Am I sound staticky, huh?
Yeah, you're all right.
We just there's something wrong with the driver on this computer now.
I have an echo.
Is that better? Is that better?
Hmm?
There's an echo.
Yeah, we can hear. You're fucking us, man. Sorry, the language.
It's all right. You're being human. The one thing I can say is, in my mind, Starlink satellite array is going to be a big problem in our sky. What with all the space junk already up there and the waste of money, just think about it. $10 billion. It's just a waste of money to shovel all that money from the government to the military industrial complex to install such a monstrosity in our sky. Come on. It's just not something we need. I mean, does everybody on the planet, including the Aborigines and the African tribesmen, do they need 5G access? No.
No, they just want a full belly. They don't want Elon Musk.
Right. For the most part, I'd say no. Some of them, maybe, but not every one of them.
And what about the newly 30 million unemployed Americans due to coronavirus? Do
Right.
they really need this multi-billion project? How about helping them instead?
Right.
And all the veterans and
right.
and you can go on forever, right?
Direction. Exactly. Why don't they funnel the money in the right direction?
Because what they're doing at the same time with this crisis is they're also plundering everything. And I mean, it's not only in the US, they're doing everywhere in the world. Like, oh, we need these help packages, and nothing reaches the people. I mean, they're still laying off people. It's all a bunch of speculative manure. I mean, they're ripping off the workers again, or the peasants, or what you want to call them. It's always been like that. We're just walking in circles.
Yes, I know, but someone once said that when the threat of terrorists was no longer a threat, really, and the military-industrial complex needed a new problem to face, it would become a false flag alien invasion event.
No, wasn't it a Project Bluebeam?
Now, Project Bluebeam was when they were going to use satellites to project images against the clouds.
Yeah, they wanted to pretend like we had this like Independence Day scenario.
They were thinking about that, but they couldn't perfect it. I mean, they can project images against the clouds and they can project images on the ground, okay? But you have to have a reflective surface for it to really become believable. Katina, welcome to the chat. And JFK DICNCIE, thank you for coming. 5G is going to be used to enslave us all using a social credit system. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not even gonna argue against that, because that would be a globalist wet dream. But that's a whole nother topic again. I mean, there's so many hundreds of topics we go into.
James Borg from Euphoria Chronicles over in, I think it's Ontario, Canada, is here in the chat. And he said, or Toronto, excuse me, he said he has seen several laser strikes from space.
Several, yeah. I mean, I have not heard of it. I have not heard of it.
On the internet.
I have not. I have. But why should I be surprised? I mean, I mean, HARP and geoengineering. That's something that already occurred in the 50s, I believe, late 50s. You can even go in and download the reports for free, and it's not like a conspiracy or anything anymore. You can download the go into internet archives, search geoengineering. You can download all the reports. There's no, it's not like it's some kind of giant conspiracy or anything. It's very real. Geoengineering is very real.
Oh yeah, geoengineering is real. Chemtrails, all of it. Yep.
It's very real. I mean, it's not a concept. Go into Internet archives. You can download the reports. You can download even some good free books and stuff.
Right.
It's not some giant conspiracy or anything. It's very fact. It's
Well,
factual.
like
It's more factual than Santa Claus. That's for sure.
Okay, going back to Starlink, what I want to say about Starlink.
Yeah, and if you can play the video I sent you on Facebook, I know everyone would enjoy.
I'm having difficulty with my video player, so I'm not able to do that at this point.
Oh, that's a shame. Because it shows how many satellites they already have up there, you know.
Right. I'm aware.
But you can enjoy it for yourself then.
Yes.
And you can even dare post it. I don't know who has the rights to it or anything. I got it from a Chinese source.
Right. I wish I could have played the video I had. It showed the Starlink array going over Dubuque, Iowa, just yesterday. And then it showed a close-up of the 60 of the actual Starlink satellites in a straight line, passing over Dubuque in about 6 minutes. That's how fast they're traveling. Mm-hmm. How fast would that be, Vern, to travel from one side of the sky to the other side?
How high up are they?
341 miles up, 6 minutes.
It depends on the orbital path, but from horizon to horizon,
yes,
6 minutes would be probably around 24,000 miles an hour.
Wow, that's quite quick. 23 to
Not
20.
really, actually, because I've seen ones going 5 or 10 times that speed.
Wow.
I saw one morning when I was up on top of the mountains over here in the east. It went by so fast that if I had blinked, I would have missed it. It was so fast and it was huge. Whatever it was going so fast that it had elongated it, you know, the visual effect of it. And it was traveling. It made no sound at all, and it went by like it was almost translucent looking, but it was a disc, definitely round or oval. It was almost like a football shape, and it went right over. Like I happened to be looking right up there when it happened, and then I've also seen these other things that travel around up there that they just take off like a bullet. You know what I mean? But they're traveling so much faster than a bullet that, you know, the distances. You know, I don't know what they are. You know.
Yeah, the one thing that needs to be pointed out is don't rule out UFO sightings just because you see Starlink. Mm-hmm. Not everything is Starlink, and not everything is UFOs. So you need to be discerning when you take a look at the night sky, and that's difficult.
Yeah, always be skeptical, no matter what it is. I mean, what you see or what you hear or what you read, right? Always have the parades up. I mean, always be in defensive mode.
Hey, Alex, the reason why I think they do a lot of chemtrail spraying on certain days is to hide what's behind the chemtrails, to hide something so that you don't see what's going on in the sky. Just my opinion.
I also believe, if I may throw something in there.
Sure, go right ahead, Unc.
They also like to silence all the birds and stuff that makes people happy, and everyone is just getting into this depressed mellow mode, you know?
Yeah, it is killing birds.
After they shut down the airports and stuff like that here, and there's no noise and stuff, people have come back to life and nature's come back to life. It's like, you know, maybe the whole corona shutdown isn't so bad because like people are actually becoming people again.
Right. Exactly. I think people are going to rise up.
I,
People
I really, I really hope so. I mean, I really hope
in
so.
the United States are starting to rise up. They're fed up with the lockdowns. They're fed up with the inability to assemble. They're fed up with the inability to work and to worship. They're fed up with their lawmakers making tyrannical moves on the public. They're just fed up with it. So I think a lot of changes are coming. Yes. And that's why sometimes on UFO Man, we try to concentrate on subjects other than just UFOs. But the reason why we came out tonight with the Starlink satellite array live stream was to show people that the satellites are definitely not UFOs. So if you see a line of
Definitely not.
sky, they're most likely the satellite array. But-
Can you play the video, Vern? By the way,
Probably be better if you had Tim do it.
I can't. I'm having difficulty with the viewer. I tried. Watch. Share screen. Oh, I see the problem. Okay, I got it. I can. Okay, here we go. Here's my video. My video works. Hey guys, here's the SpaceX Starlink satellite array passing over Dubuque, Iowa on 5/6/2020.
Look at that.
Take a look. These are not UFOs. They have been misidentified by many as UFOs. These are a satellite array deployed by Elon Musk and SpaceX to give everybody free 5G access. With each launch, they are deploying 60 SpaceX Starlink satellites in space at 341 miles out. That's 60 satellites per launch.
they're just menacing by themselves, right?
2020, there are
Just
4
imagine 40,000 of them.
satellites
Yeah.
deployed.
Imagine if you're like some tribal people, never seen a cell phone or something, then you start seeing these fucking vermin on the sky.
My question is,
Jesus
will we
Christ.
still be able to see the stars?
I don't know, but you can't see them if you live in the city anyway, so it's not going to really matter to most people. Most populations can't see the stars as it is, and it would actually light up the sky and make it look like you can see a lot of stars. It probably look like the Milky Way. It really was like, look, there's the Milky Way, but it's all artificial. That'd just totally give the flat earthers a whole bunch of shit to go on.
It's so menacing. This they're really hissing on people.
Oh, well, that's not the half of it. China's going to put up a giant reflective umbrella that they're going to make it daytime all the time in China so they can grow more food and be more productive and have a 24-hour cycle, because there's too many people now on a daylight cycle that the population can handle and everything else. So if they were to split everyone up into like thirds, they would have a 24-hour 3-cycle society. So, basically, and talking about authoritarian, you get your little card and it says, "Oh, you're a night person now. You have to be a night person. You don't have a choice, right?" Mm-hmm. But that's what they're constructing right now. They're going to build this thing, and it's going to be this giant reflective umbrella. It's supposed to be like way brighter than the moon, like literally make it 24 hours of daylight.
Yeah, people who support China are very evil people.
That's it. That's Santosh.
Very, very sad to actually.
It's crazy, but You know,
I don't give a fuck about the rich Chinese elite, but how at least the people who make your smartphone or whatever, I
but
really feel
imagine
sorry
this
for
though.
those people.
What if this is what, like Atlantis, so let's say that like the ancient civilizations, say that they had space travel and say that they arranged this type of stuff, and this was their downfall. Like, let's say that, they tried to do the same thing. I mean, we're prone to repeat our own history, right? Because if we don't learn it,
Yeah, apparently we haven't really learned a lot the last 6,000 years or something.
Do you recall the Hopi legend where the Hopi
yeah.
said that the sky would be crisscrossed with spider webs? Uh, that could either refer to chemtrails or to a ray.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
or it could be like a massive.
almost every Native American tribe reports that they were taken off the planet and up into a sky lodge and kept up in a sky lodge for a period of time because the earth was inhospitable, and then returned and put into a cave and dispersed throughout the country or whatever. And there's at least 20 or 25 tribes, main sect tribes, different languages that all have the same lore. So I mean, and they don't communicate, they don't speak the same language.
Right. They have the same story.
Yeah, same as Sasquatch being the same story amongst many tribes.
It's basically Quetzalcoatl, right?
Yeah, I mean, it isn't something that they made up because they didn't have the ability to really communicate very well, and at those times. So for them to have the same legends and lores, I mean,
But
clearly from other places.
these things are still going on. I mean, I have videos where people are talking about its cow mutilations and stuff, and they should just show the cattle who's been directly hit by these massive, insane lightnings, and it looks like something has just experimented on it. But the fact is, like, these lightning has been so big that like thousands of cattle have died off.
Now, like when you think of the Eastern Indians too, people don't know this, but their dialects. There's 5 tribes that have written dialects, which is really rare amongst Native Americans, and those written dialects are very close to an ancient Yiddish script, and that they think that the Eastern Indians and natives are related to actually Jews, and that would give more truth to actually the Book of Mormon, believe it or not, because that's what the Book of Mormon says, that they were these ones that during the flood ended up over in North America.
But would that be all orange, lemons, or citrus juice?
Well, Tim was converted, and I know Tim knows how the story goes and all that stuff. But it's kind of interesting that I don't think the guy made up the story. Actually, I think that he would, however he came up with it, it was definitely something told him with the right and stuff, because the way it was written, all that, he couldn't have produced that in the period of time that he did. I don't believe, given the circumstances of it. They didn't have typewriters, they didn't have anything. You know what I mean? Everything was written by hand.
But which time in history are we here exactly?
Oh, it's about 1820s. It wasn't about
1820s. Okay. Then I'm open for it. Then I'm open.
But see, Joseph Smith was murdered by Brigham Young, and Brigham Young murdered him. So the whole church was all messed up after that, and it was convoluted. And they all went in different sections. There's this one called the Church of Christ, which is actually a Mormon church. Okay, they're mainly up in Canada and stuff. Then there's one that's went to Mexico, and that's where Romney is from. Romney, he's actually I found out the other day that he's a distant relative of mine, believe it or not, through my mom. My mom comes from Utah, and he's related to the Aryans, and I'm related to the Aryans. So that's where we have a common relative, and kind of weird, huh?
Yeah.
But anyway, so
you traitor.
No, I'm related to Charlemagne, direct descendant of Charlemagne too, and 3 popes. 3 popes I'm related to too. So
There is a huge echo.
Okay, Santosh. Thank you for stopping in. Where's the echo coming from again? Is it me?
Yeah,
have a good time, Santosh.
Yeah, it's coming from you, Vern.
Sleep well if you're gonna sleep.
Thanks for coming, Santosh. Good to see you in the chat.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, is that better now?
Keeping up with the chat.
Yeah.
It's you.
Wait. No. Big echo.
I have to refresh. I'm going to come in another browser, all right?
Yeah, sure.
You wonder who Atlantis's version of Trump was? Probably Aquaman. Just kidding. Anyways, I don't know who that would be, but that would be an interesting topic sometime. Mr. DB Cooper 77. I think maybe we'll have to look into that. Katina, it was very good to have you here tonight.
I'm always up for Atlantis since.
Yeah, next time we'll talk about Atlantis, but we got off track quite a bit concerning Starlink. But that's how live streams tend to go. We go off on tangents. But I have to say that Starlink is being misidentified as UFOs by many. And be rest assured they are not UFOs. There is no invasion in that regard coming, although they are invading our airspace. They are. And they're a man-made weapons platform, like Unc said, and it is very detrimental to our society.
They're designed to spy not just up, but also down, and give people a fast internet service.
Is it working now?
Yes. Yeah. Just hold on a minute, Unc. Hold on a second. Okay, there we go. Now we're good. Hey, Suburban SF, how you doing? Good to see ya. Glad you're here. We're coming down to about the end of our live, but we've been talking about Starlink and how it's been misidentified as UFOs. And if you've seen it in the sky going over, most likely it's a stream of 60 lights in a row, and you can usually count them because it usually takes about 5 to 6 minutes to pass over. And
could they actually be a spy platform as well as like?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that they're a spy platform. Yeah,
actually grab people's information off their grid, or Wi-Fi while they pass by. Like, oh, let's just track them while we're at it. I mean, it's a multiple purpose weapons platform in that sense. And when I say weapon, I'm not talking about something with bombs or cannons. I mean, you can weaponize a lot of things,
Yeah. You see, Vern? He's having a moment. Anyways, I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming. Suburban SF, you came right at the end. Basque language is the oldest European.
Suburban.
Come over to VERNVISION. We'll probably be over at VERNVISION.
Yes, Occam, we'll have to check on that. We're going to have an after party over at VERNVISION.
Yeah, and VERNVISION will show the video,
from
very, very erotic Starlink video that
No.
UFO man couldn't show.
Right. Sorry about not being able to show it. But
yeah, it's no worries. But it's a good video, and it details what you're saying. It takes like a few minutes before they all pass by.
Yes, Alex, I think Vern did see Starlink go over.
Well, there was also the thing that I saw up in the mountains was not Starlink. That was totally different stuff. And I actually saw something shoot something that looked like a weapon in all different directions. And that was whatever it was that it shot out of it was traveling so much faster than it was like they were standing still. And they were moving probably 4 or 5 times faster than normal satellites. And one of the things that was up there, it completely blacked out the stars. It was that big. And it was in space. There's no doubt about it. And it was cloaked, I guess. because I could only see lights on it on the corners of it, or like where it looked like lights on the corners of it. Looked like a football shape. Went over. It was escorted with probably maybe 12 or 14 other like lights, looked like satellites, but they weren't satellites, obviously, because one they were traveling. They were traveling in weird directions and stuff, and doing all kinds of stuff that normal satellites don't do. They were changing directions like on a dime and stuff, like going in like on a right angle and stuff. And I had pulled over to take a leak, because I would normally stop at this one spot, but they closed it because of the coronavirus, you know, of all things. And so I had to pull over on the side of the road. And when I was done, I just kind of was looking up there, and all of a sudden there was a satellite came, and then another one, and another one, and then all of a sudden there was like this big massive thing that came over, and was escorted, like I said, by several. I would guess 9 or 10, 12, maybe. You know, there was one that was behind all of them. That at one point, I mean, I blinked and all I saw was stuff shooting out of it in every direction. And so whatever that was, I don't know, but they looked like satellites. I mean, as far as there was no blinking lights, there was no navigational lights. It was just a moderately bright to dim lights. You know, they were all actually lit differently. And so that's another thing too, that the Starlink ones are all pretty much lit consistently the same. And when you look up there and you see multiple satellites that aren't lit the same, that means that they're producing their own light. They're not reflecting light or whatever. So they're going to be different things completely. And I've seen so much stuff where I live up here. And I don't know why. I don't know why that I have that sense or whatever, but I just do. And it's kind of weird, but what can I say?
Okay. Well, thank you, Vern, for your story. One thing I want to say is tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Central Daylight Time, Vern and I are going to be interviewing director Michael Mazzola. He is the director of Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, the new Stephen GREER film. So if you're interested, we hope to see you there.
Adios.
See you there, or be square.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
I'll get a link for everyone.
Yeah, Vern will put a link in the chat for those of you who want to come over to the after party. It'll be on VERNVISION Truth Network. So I want to thank everybody for attending. Thank everybody for coming. Thanks, Alex, Suburban SF, Occam's Razor, Katina Birdcage, Michael. There was a Michael Biden something. I can't remember the last part of your name, Michael. I'm sorry, but thank you very much for coming. And everyone, good night.
Good night.
Stay spacey. Okay.